Alright guys, now today we are going to look at some Vuarnet glasses. I didn't say sunglasses. That strikes you as weird, I'm sure, as it does me, but it is what it is. So, we've got here one of the models. I actually got a set of them in, so we've got a handful here. I'm not going to go through all of them because they're basically the same concept, but there's some metals, some plastics, and some like this model, which I'm kind of partial to this one as an ophthalmic. Now, the sun clips are another matter, and that's what you want to hear about. We'll get back to that, but let's start with kind of the core of what we've got here. So we have a French-made frame, of course. All Vuarnet is. This one is a stainless steel, and I think most of them are, except for the acetates. Now, this is made like the Glacier and some of their other sunglasses where you've got that acetate inner trim ring. That's a great thing to have. It hides some of the thickness but still gives you that classy metal look. It also gives you a little bit of that plasticky look with the metal frame, so you get something a little bit more sturdy across through here that you don't have to worry about kind of widening over time, which we all hate. I hate it. I can fix it, but I hate it. Anyway, back to the important part and the important stuff. So what we've got is that, of course. Now, the good thing about that, it's really good to do this if you want a glass lens, because that gives you some protection against shock and you don't have to worry about cracking the lens if you drop them. Don't recommend it, but it's a benefit. Now, the reason I say I wouldn't do glass in these, and that's not something I say very often unless you've got a wild prescription, and then I have all sorts of fun with you. Focus. Too much caffeine today, maybe. Anyways. So, the reason I wouldn't really recommend glass lenses in these is because the Vuarnet clip. Hear that ting? They are still the Vuarnet glass lenses. Now, one thing I'm a little disappointed in here is they don't offer different lens options for these clips. So, they are what they are. There's no changing. There's no option to do different ones. They're a little finicky to put on. Not as bad as some others I've seen. So it still goes on pretty easily. It doesn't quite compare to the magnetic clips. You may have seen my other video, and we'll link that whichever side it goes on here, about the chemistry clips, which are embedded magnets within the lenses. So that's super easy to deal with. Now, the one good thing with the titanium clip, with the clip-on, titanium, it is titanium. The one saving grace, my brain's ahead of me, is that these are titanium clips. Now, that does make it a little bit more expensive, but that kind of balances out the weight ratio here, since you do have those glass lenses would traditionally make this very, very front heavy, which is really not. It actually balances out pretty nicely, even with that clip on there. Now, I will say, prescription-wise, there's definitely some limitation here. And the reason for that is because of the way the clip fits on these. It fits up very tight against the front. So you high plus, far-sighted people, it's not going to work out. You're going to end up scratching up the lenses just from the on and off of this. You're not going to scratch up this glass, I can promise you that. But this, your lenses in here, yeah, there's no hope for those guys. They're getting scratched up. That glass is not going to be forgiving. But the frame overall is really well made, and I dig this look. Especially, they nailed me. I said, send me one. You know, I have some people that want to see it. Send me one. Let me see, get my hands on, see what I think. And they send me blue. Like, come on, guys. Gray and blue. Seriously. All of them. It is what it is. They know me. They're figuring me out. That's what it is. But this one's for you guys, not for me. Those are for me. Looks like it is anyways. Alright, now, I want to show you the one thing I do like about this over most other clips. And that is, these bed nicely down on the actual frame. Now, I mentioned with plus lenses, you don't have a lot of room here at the front. You can see that in the video here. There is almost no gap across that front line. So you know, there's not a lot of room to do a plus prescription in there because those are going to protrude towards the front of the lenses. You can offset that a little bit, but it's still going to be limited. You know, about a +2 is really going to be it. You could maybe stretch it up to a +3 with a lenticular design. You're getting a lot of trade-offs that you really shouldn't have to worry about at that prescription level. Now, the minuses, particularly in these with the acetate trim ring, you're good. There's no... Yeah, well, there's almost no minus prescription you can put in these. I wouldn't go up to like a -12 or something, but for the most part, you can fit pretty much any minus in there. About a -6, -8, no problem. Now, what I will say is on these metal ones, I am not a fan. So here we've got one of the metal ones, and it is significantly more front heavy. There's just not a lot of balance there. I'm not sure why that is, but it is. It is what it is. And it's, yeah, it's still a titanium clip, but for whatever reason, this one is very front heavy. And as I mentioned earlier, there's not a whole lot in the way of lens choice because you can't really select the different ones. They kind of come as what they are. You can't change it out. And the reason I think that's a disadvantage here, they opted to do primarily just the tinted, which, and again, I'm not here to tell you polarized is the end-all be-all, and I'll tell you in my other video there that it's not that big of a deal. Polarized has some distinct advantages, but especially in the American market, it's kind of saturated to the point where they will tell you polarized is a necessity. It's not. It's not. But I think that kind of shoots this in the foot out of the gate, at least in the US market. Now, if they're not going to offer options in this case, I would like to see that polarized, because if you're not going to have a choice in what the lens is and how it functions for you, polarized is a good default. Now, they do, you know, you've got gray, you've got brown, but that's it. It's gray or brown. They don't offer the links, so you don't even have that glare protection from above and below. The ski links lens isn't an option, which that automatically saddens me with Vuarnet. Their ski links is my favorite lens. It's the one I sell the most of. It's the one I go to most of the time. It's a very good universal design. It's fairly inexpensive as far as the Vuarnet stuff goes. And it works. It just freaking works. It's worked for over 50 years. It's a great lens design. Now I'm ranting. I'm sorry. Okay. So, they do have some other models here. And this one is all acetate, which is always nice, at least the frame front. And then you've got the stainless temples. I did notice most of these have that flag design on the temple tips, which is nice. It's kind of a throw to that French heritage. And I do like that, because it's freaking Vuarnet. It's French. Announce it, scream it to the rooftops, whatever you want to do. Anyway, so this one is kind of nice. You've got that nice thick outer edge on the acetate, which is always great, especially for the minus prescriptions. It hides a lot of that thickness that you might run into in some cases. And again, the way this clips around, it essentially stops at the frame, so you don't have to worry about scratching up your lenses taking this on and off. Again, it fits very tight on that front edge, so still not something I would recommend a high plus prescription go into. And that's honestly, that's the case for most clip-on or fit-over frames. It just doesn't work as well. They fit tight to the front. Now, that reduces some of the overhang and keeps it from being way too front heavy, and there's some other stuff I won't get into that it does. It also doesn't distort the optics. I couldn't help it. I went there anyway. So it distorts the optics less. Now, I mentioned before to the person that asked me, my review of these is going to be very harsh. I think I kind of got taken back from that a little bit, because they are probably one of the nicest clip-ons I've seen. So there you go. Not as harsh as I expected. It is still a clip-on. They did an anti-reflective backside on the lenses, so that's all good. You know, it's actually really well handled optically, and it's nicely built. Prescription limitations are there. Overall good stuff. So there you go. If you like this video, like, follow along. If you don't already, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. I will catch you guys next time.